designations don't matter to me because I'm not in pursuit of any frills, but I'm definitely in pursuit of happiness. Earn your place on the table, and the table and the board is yours. So just earn it, log out, don't look out for shortcuts, and the world is there for you to conquer.
Welcome to another episode of Corporate Citizen Conversations. I'm your host Ishwari Jede, and today we have with us Soumya Datta, VP Strategic HR at Gold Star Jewelry, dual PhD holder, TEDx speaker, 10x LinkedIn Top Voice World Record holder, and mentor to NASSCOM. In this conversation, we'll explore her expertise in HR strategy, digital transformation, behavioral analytics, and leadership lessons. Let's dive for the conversation. Welcome, ma'am.
Hello, Ishwari. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, ma'am?
Pleasure being here.
So let's start this, and I want to ask you about your career journey. Like, if you give us a few insights about it.
So I started way back in 1999 when I was working for a pager service. So that was my first brush. Because there was thoda sa time tha between the next academic pursuit and this. So we started from there. From there, I got married, completed education, then came to, not in that order, but came to Mumbai, and here then I started my first job in an e-commerce company, which was a rubber trading platform. From there, I graduated to retail, which was Crossword Book Depot, which was an upcoming elite brand wherein there were coffee shops and islands and people were encouraged to read books. From there, I joined another college. From there, I came and then Bin Laden happened. So he took our careers also. And from a rubber commerce company, I then joined a jewelry company, and now I'm here 22 years in jewelry.
That's amazing. So when I gave the introduction, there was a specific point that you have a dual PhD.
Right.
And how has that combination helped you?
Oh, so I'm very passionate about human behaviors and their ramifications. So what happened was, I'm a BSc. Then I did my PhD PM, in which I have a gold medal in HR, and then I did my master's MBA. उसके बाद ऐसा लगा कि यार marketing, sales में और क्या किया जा सकता है. So e-commerce was something that was starting. The world was moving away from brick and mortar to an ethereal background, and there I said I want to really understand the nuances of this e-commerce business, and hence I joined my PhD program, did this analytics and profitability of an e-commerce system. That was the topic of my PhD. And once I did that, uske thode saal baad, so I completed that in 2018, and then like I said, human behaviors, even animal behaviors, they really intrigue me. What is the motive and what are the trigger points for a person to act and behave and even start a conversation in a particular way? So I decided to do my PhD in psychology, but uske pehle we had, and it was mandated by the UGC that you have to have a master's. So I did my master's from IGNOU in MA in psychology, and then I did my PhD in psychology as well.
So I would like to ask you, how do you define high performance culture, work culture?
So you were talking about one and the same thing, Culture breeds talent, and talents incubate culture. So when we talk about high performance, it means that an entire ecosystem is made in such a way where everyone is cued and glued towards a common aspiration. In that, you have to have a personal as well as professional agenda melded together. Now, in a simple way, if I would say that, suppose it is my passion to know and work for people, and if my company is also giving me a platform where I can do justice to that, then that's where I become a high performer. Then salaries don't matter to me. Of course it does, but not to that level that I can be poached from an organization.
Right.
Then designations don't matter to me because I'm not in pursuit of any frills, but I'm definitely in pursuit of happiness. So that's where a high performance culture comes in, wherein people are geared towards aspiring towards that commonality which melts their professional and personal aspiration.
That's great. So there are many startups coming up, and what is the one mistake that they are making in terms of HR?
So startups, what happens with startups is they are short staffed, and then they are short on capital. Now short staffed and short on capital, and short staffed, they go hand in hand.
Right.
Now what happens is that when such startups come into, then there is a lot of compromises that they do in the initial phases. Most of the startups, they have to satiate the desire of the investors, and investors start actually, if I can use the word, interfering in the business mindsets, and that's where the entire base and the foundation on which that startup was created starts crumbling down.
Okay.
So the biggest mistake that they do is that keep the investor as an investor and keep your business sensibilities to where it actually aspires to be. Otherwise, today we wouldn't have a Mama Earth or a Zomato or a Swiggy or you name it. All these startups have become unicorn. Nykaa being another startup that has come up in a big way.
So how do you motivate for the fast changing teams and with the Gen Zs coming in the workforce?
So I work with 4 generations. So I have someone who started the business right in 62, and he was born in 1943. Almost 84, 85 years old. Then I have his grandson with me, who is born somewhere in say 98, 97. अब ये दोनों अलग अलग polarities से thought lines लेके आते हैं, but base problem same होती है. So the problem is inherent in the human nature and in the society that we live in. What the older generation would do is they would sit back and analyze, but the younger generation wants quick fix. So that's where the whole problem is. दोनों को solution चाहिए, but then I come in and I mediate and bring a common point. For example, there is a non-performer in the organization. Loyalty is a big factor in family-run businesses, and I am part of it. So the patriarch would say, "Rehne do, that person has been loyal with us. Let him be in the system. Him or her be in the system. 25 साल से अब वो कहाँ जाएगा?" The youngster will say, "Oh no, he's the weight and everyone has to, pitch in for this person's inefficiency and non-performance. Take him off the system." So then I come in and I draw a median point wherein I ask the person, would you be happy to come and be with us for 4 to 5 hours as a consultant? So he's still in the system, still having that self-respect of earning something and taking it back home, yet not being completely out, and that ways also we create a successor in the system. So this is how we mediate and create a mid path for both the generations. अब Gen Z जो आ गए हैं, ये I wouldn't always look down at them. Though millennials are better, Gen Zs are there for the vibe
Okay.
and the tribe, which is very difficult for us to find in the organization. बट हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं उनको समझने की, उनकी पर्सपेक्टिव्स को भी.
That's great. So you also create content for YouTube.
Yes.
I wanted to know, how does social media, affect in a good way or in a bad way in the leadership roles?
Social medias create perceptions and biases because they are run by influencers. So when you have influencers will influence what they feel is right. For example, there is someone who stood up and said, why do we need a formal education? हटा दो सारे colleges वगैरह से, dropouts are doing so well. Boss, we are billions of human beings, and you can count on your fingers how many dropouts have created Microsofts and IBMs and Apples and Googles or Alphabets. But not all of us, right? Education is for the larger mass who will come there, who will put in their 2 cents, and who will get a livelihood. So first thing first, social media is influencing the mindset. The good part of social media is where you have a capsular learning. You get into small bits learnings and you get a certification of it. However, I would still insist, please get into a college. These can be an estuarial or a by-learning, but not the main learning. Because peer-to-peer जो आप classroom में बैठ के सीख सकते हैं, वो online नहीं हो सकता है. Education cannot be had in silos.
That's great. So as a behavior analyst, I wanted to know that what is the basic and common behavioral trait that you've observed or you've come across?
In what ways?
In means of hiring?
In terms of hiring, that how would I hire a person, what
Yes.
behavior? I would never look at the person's grade, whether the person has failed in certain classes or was a topper. It does matter, but not to a great extent. And I may sound repetitive or cliched, but yes, if a person has a learning attitude, a moldable nature that I see, अगर वो आपके जैसे बात कर रहा है, listening mode में है, and I can just get it in just 30 seconds, 40 seconds, और अगर वो चीज़ है, तो definitely that person would be a very good team player, right? So contributor भी होगा, वो सुनेगा भी, he'll be good listener. That person will also come up with solutions to the problem, and basically that team formation, because organization, family, society, we're all made up of teams. Individual कोई नहीं है. So that is where I would say.
Yeah, so coming to the final question, what one advice would you give to the younger generation who are stepping into the new workforce?
Don't come with a sense of, I would say, entitlement. Earn your place on the table, and the table and the board is yours. So just earn it, log out, don't look out for shortcuts, and the world is there for you to conquer.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much.